So with all the drama going on in our world today, we have our younger viewers who wanted to ask our older guidance. Mm-hmm. Who are we going with, Drake or Kendrick?
Ooh, good question.
Aaron should have been here.
I'm gonna go Drake.
Gonna go with Drake.
I'm going with Draco.
Mark.
What was the question?
Drake or Kendrick?
Oh, I was gonna do P Diddy, dude.
It's a rare condition this day and age to read any good news on the newspaper page. And love and tradition of the grand design, some people say, is even harder to find.
He's been out of the spotlight.
No, he didn't.
Where have you been?
That spotlight turned to that one question line.
Yeah, that To Catch a Predator. Wow. Okay, Mark's Team Diddy.
Wait, are we on camera? I thought we were just jacking around.
Just the same.
I'm Team Drake.
God.
Hey, and I'm sorry, what is this for? Some Airbnb bull?
It's just there's a lot of drama, you know, with everything going on in our world.
Resonate with the younger viewers.
Yeah.
This is what we
That's why
care
these
about.
guys are
This is
here,
what we
dude.
care about. Nothing about war, housing market. No, Drake, Kendrick.
All right, Ben, who you got?
Kendrick.
I figured.
I'm in the Kendrick zone.
The best part about that Kendrick-Drake beef is that on Google Maps, they both put on each other's houses that, so in Drake's house in Montreal, if you go on Google Maps, it says owned by Kendrick.
Throw this up. This is
And
good.
then on Kendrick's house, it says owned by Aubrey. All right, well, while Mark is getting it together
I'm
off
good, I'm
camera.
good, I'm good,
No,
I'm
no,
good,
take your time. It's a 30-minute podcast. I'm actually going to go into market stats, but I'm going to do a little differently this time.
I got a couple good ones.
I'm going to do a little differently this time. Normally, we talk about our inventory levels, what they are today. However, I want to give you guys some perspective, and I'm going to go back 10 years. And I'm going to talk about not only inventory levels, but I'm going to talk about average price, because one of the questions we often get is, when is the best time to buy a home? And I think we always say the best time to buy a home is when you can afford to, right? Because if, and we'll put this up on the screen, but I've got a nice little chart here for all of our data-driven people listening and watching. This is Santa Clara County average sales price or average home price over the last 10 years. January 2015, average home price was $1.1 million. Fast forward to 2024, which is about 9.5 years later. As of May 1st, 2024, average home price in Santa Clara County was $2.421 million.
You know, it's crazy. I know when I first got into business, people would tell me that Silicon Valley values double every 10 years. 8 to 10 years, whatever it is. And it blows my mind to see that, because every time we've bought, you sit there and you're buying that house in 2015 for 1.4 and you're like, oh my God, we're overpaying for it. What's going on? How in the hell is it going to be worth, well, actually it's 1.2, right?
Yeah.
How in the hell is it going to be worth $2.4 million 10 years from now?
I know.
And yet it continues to prove itself.
Yep. And the other thing that we continue to talk about that the next slide will show, these are the inventory levels by month over the last 10 years. And Mark, what month of the year do we always tell everybody that things start to slow down? June. So, and we have the data to back it up. It's not just bullshit. So if you look at the inventory peaks throughout the last 10 years, most of the time inventories peak are in June.
Yep.
Now, right now in our county, we're in May, so we're getting towards that peak. We're only at 755 single-family homes. Now, compare it to
Pretty good.
June, July of last year. We had 1,271 homes.
Did you
for
say
sale.
pretty good? Like 700 homes is pretty good?
We were at 400 like 2 weeks ago.
Well, it's all relative, I guess.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Right, but
Everything's
glass
relative
half
out here.
full.
Yeah.
But again, look back just a year ago at this time, we had 1,271 homes for sale.
Which at that time we were saying how low that inventory was.
Yeah. You go back 3 years before that, June 1st, 2019, we had 1,846 homes.
Yeah. When was the last time? I mean, you know, I always say that 3,500 is that balanced market for buyers and sellers. When was the last time we even hit that?
So I've got a 10-year graph.
Okay.
The highest we ever got,
1,800.
July 1st, 2016, we had 1,880 single-family homes, 588 condos, townhomes. So that's about 2,400.
I would say to get into the 3-4s, you'd have to go back into that 2008 to 2011 time period.
Yeah, absolutely. And then to tie it all back to June being slow months, a slow month of the year, and how it relates to home values. I don't have it on this graph, but I'll add some detail. if you look at these ups and downs in home values over the last 10 years, every time you see a peak, it's typically, April, May. June always drops. Every month out of the last, or every June out of the last 10 years, home values, the average home value has dropped in June compared to the month or months prior.
Sure. We always say the time zone for a seller, and I want to preface this, I don't think that's going to be the case this year. Normally, the time zone for a seller to get that extra 2 to 3% is from February 1 till the end of May. Simply because affluent area, people go on vacations, they're not focused on...
Vacations,
Right.
graduations,
Now
all
this
that
year, you and I have been talking about this, is that the start of our inventory increase on our team is kind of just happening, where normally it happens in January, February.
Right.
So it'll be interesting to see, and yet we still have historically low inventory. So I'm not worried about the summer seasonality impacting the sales. I think those buyers are still out there.
No, they are, but I have talked to a few agents, and they're feeling a little bit of things cooling off. I just put a condo on the market yesterday in 95110. In the last 30 days, 2 identical floor plans have sold. The first one sold, had 8 offers. The one that just got into contract last week only had 3 offers.
Yeah.
And they're comparable condition. Both were listed at the exact same price. Now, the interesting thing is both of them actually ended up selling for $75K over the asking price equally. So, we adopted the same strategy. We came on the market yesterday at a low price of $599 for a ground floor, 2-bedroom, 2-bath condo. And the cool thing about this, Jason will be there doing the open house on Sunday this weekend, Mother's Day. Shout out to all you mothers.
Damn.
Mm-hmm. I know.
Mother's Day, there you go.
But here's something buyers may not know.
I love mothers. They're all great.
My
mother's awesome.
Something buyers may not know.
Jason's, I don't know about her. If he's doing an open house on Mother's Day, I don't know.
She's out of town. She's in Europe.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
Yeah,
All right, Mom's in Europe.
Yeah, they're in Italy.
So, something for our first-time home buyers that you may not know. There are several areas in our county that fall into a low to moderate income census tract. When a home falls in that area, there are special loan programs for them. So our condo that is listed at the low price of $599,000, if you make under $18,000 a month, right? It seems like a lot of money.
Seems like a huge. Imagine anybody else listening to that statement, what you just said,
but
out of California or out of our area.
They're like, whoa.
If you make under $18,000 a month, you will get an extra $18,000 in lender credits.
Wow.
Which means you could buy down your rate.
Crazy.
Yeah. So $18,000 in free money just for making under $18,000 a year. And so give you
$18,000 a month. So over $200 grand a year qualifies you for these programs.
Does that count as a combined income between husband and wife?
Yeah. So household income under $18,000. But you know what you can do with $18,000? You could take $12,000 of that and buy down your interest rate 2 points.
Sure.
Right.
2 points. Is that 2 points?
And still have an extra $6,000 left towards closing costs. Yeah. Right. So yeah. So again, who you work with matters. If you have an agent that hasn't told you about census tracts and the options available to you, you should probably reconsider your agent.
Oh, drop the mic.
Yeah, it's crazy to hear you say that some agents think it's slowing down. I mean, I just received a great agent who works out of Compass just submitted an offer on her property here in East San Jose, 2 streets away from Independence High School. 15 offers, and they're still coming in.
Dang. Yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah, but again, there are those areas, as David pointed out. We talked about this on the podcast last time. Santa Cruz County is seeing some slowdown. Mm-hmm. I mean, we're not seeing multiple offers on all the product over there.
Yeah,
even the stuff that's right on the beach and everything. So it's interesting.
Yeah, but to Mark's point, I mean, we have a ton of new listings coming on.
Yeah.
I mean, the most I've seen at one time for our team in a while. It says something because we're always pretty active.
Right.
But I mean, we've got everything from condos, single-family homes, multifamily projects. Yeah. You name it, we've got it throughout the county.
And on the buy side, I'm seeing more than just home buyers purchasing these homes. Still a lot of investors who are buying these. I look at the rental market just as much as the active home market, and these properties that we're bidding on during the week are coming back on the rental market the next week, which means 2 things. 1, someone's buying in cash and putting it back on. And 2, I mean, I hope this is true, but they're putting down enough money to where they're putting it on the rental market and at least cash flow. And again, you guys, when you see your offers come in as a selling agent, you look at their proof of funds. I have people ask me all the time, where is this money coming from? Where do they have this money to even purchase these homes and relist them as a rental market? Mm-hmm. Do you guys? I mean, do you see it coming from any other spot other than just stock market? Or people sitting on
It's
money?
all-
Are they selling?
listen, we're seeing on the rental side of things. You know, you look at Forbes Group, who's one of the companies we have, right, for property management. 800 doors, 2 vacancies. We are now starting to see tenants, prospective renters, bidding on properties. I mean, on the high-end properties too. We just had one recently that 11,000 that we were marketing for 11,500.
And you're talking about bidding on rental properties.
Yes.
Yeah, like
on
saying
rental
like
properties.
if market rent's
Right.
6,000, I'll give you 62.
Exactly.
so-
Yeah, now seller, just in full disclosure, seller has to be careful on how they work that because you don't want to step over the line with any housing discrimination or anything. But you know, if a seller's got 5 offers in at the same time and they're all qualified, you know, they definitely, just like we do with residential real estate, they have the ability to, you know, go with a higher offer if that's what's been offered to them. It's so the rental market is moving.
hot.
And then to your point earlier that you said, if we're looking at a property doubling, I mean, listen, we know, go back as long as we've been keeping records back to 1940 or before, 8.8 a year, 8.8 percentage a year is our appreciation.
Yep.
Where national average is 2.
And do you think these people who are buying these homes as an investment are selling their homes at an 8.8 appreciation, or not selling, refinancing, taking money out and repurchasing another home?
Not in today's market with the interest
No.
rate. It won't make sense, which is some really great segues into a lot of the information I have here.
Well, let's go now that you got your.
So,
together.
okay, so a couple things. This is going to kind of go all over the place, but it's specific to Silicon Valley. One thing that I found interesting when you were talking about the inventory levels is I've been starting to track foreclosures. Okay, we currently have over $900 billion of loans that are coming due in 2024
Commercial
nationwide.
loans.
No, this is everything from
Commercial and residential.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Right.
900.
$900 billion nationwide of these loans that are coming due, which is a pretty big statement. So, you know, you look at the foreclosure, it is going to impact the commercial harder than residential. Right now, if you look at where we were 2022, we had about 210 for the whole year foreclosure. Notice the defaults, right? The first phase
filed,
in it.
yeah.
23 was 234. Already year to date, we're over 200. And we're not even halfway through the year, right? So just something to keep an eye on.
Yeah,
you know?
and as a quick footnote to that, Mark, you and I, we've been doing this quite a while, and we went through the big crash in 07 and 08. You know, we helped a lot of people, whether it was through short sales or through postponing foreclosures. You know, it's a really sensitive topic, right? You're behind on your payments, and most of those people are also behind on their property taxes, and they don't know what to do.
Right.
So I will say this, you know, if you are behind on a payment, if you're behind on property taxes, or if you think something's coming up in the near future where you're going to have some financial difficulties making your mortgage payment or property tax payment, reach out to Mark or myself. You know, all the
100%.
stuff, the tools we have in our tool belt that we used back then, whether it's contacting banks, doing loan modifications, short sales, you know, helping you postpone foreclosures, all of that stuff, you know, is right in our wheelhouse. It'll all be confidential. And the main thing, we just want to give you guys information. If we can help keep you in your home, then that's a win for us.
The worst thing anybody can do, and everybody has the ostrich syndrome, where they stick their head in the
Bury their head.
sand. They don't want to deal with it. It's kind of a taboo subject, but we're here to help out in all situations, right?
Absolutely.
So that's just one tidbit. Going to Silicon Valley, do you guys know who the Magnificent Seven of the companies in this area are?
Oh, I thought you say the agents. I'm like, well, there's
No.
four of us right here.
No. Yeah, there you go. Right. Yeah, I think we're close to that. No, of the companies that are in here, because this really shows the growth and kind of some of the changes too. So,
Well, I'd say are the FANG companies, right?
oh, you got Tesla's one of them.
Say
right?
Tesla,
Yeah.
Microsoft,
Microsoft,
boom.
Apple,
Google,
Google,
Nvidia,
Nvidia
right?
now,
So
yeah.
just real quick, year to date, Nvidia is up 91%. Meta is up 44%.
So to answer the question of where the money's coming from,
Yeah, right.
Your
There
Nvidia
you go.
stock is making you all.
Well, but it gets interesting. Amazon's up 17%, Microsoft 12%, Google's pretty flat. Apple's down 6.7, Tesla's down 28.5.
Yeah, Tesla blew it.
Tesla's having some.
Some issues right now.
It's a little musky over
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, however, again, these are just interesting stats. Silicon Valley, $403 billion is what our basically GMP is, right? That puts us as the 36th largest global economy. As far as as a state, we're the 6th largest U.S. economy. Inflation, this is one thing that's interesting. We talk about inflation a lot, right? And we say in our area or the metro areas how it's been hit, but actually, you know, the areas that have been hit the hardest are kind of middle America.
Midwest.
More of those areas because, of course, it went up
Income
so
levels are
high.
lower, yeah.
Yeah, so, you know, kind of inflation across the board in all the metro areas, it's basically, you know, it's been basically $1 is how they kind of categorize it, where the other areas are more like, you know, 125% on it. Population recovery. This is interesting. You know, we used to do our podcast, where's everybody moving to? And the mass exodus out of California. Well, 2021, yes, we saw a huge
COVID,
exodus.
right? Yeah.
Sure. All of a sudden now it's coming back. People are coming back. Now they're calling it the Great Recovery or the Great Movement back to California, right?
Well, and it just goes to, you know, what we always talk about is California has its problems, right? I mean, whether it's, you know, homeless or high gas prices and all those things, but at the end of the day, the climate, the weather, the proximity to things, you know, the opportunities that this state has, there's not another state in the nation that can compare.
And not only that, but like when you're saying like the climb back to California, a lot of these jobs that you mentioned too on like NVIDIA, Google, Microsoft, they're mandatoring people to come in now again, 3 days a week, 4 days a week.
That was one of the other slides. I didn't pull that one out.
Well, and
it's about 40 to 50% that they're making.
Yeah,
come back
and remember all those satellite, like Silicon Slopes and some places in Austin where they had big plans to move out that way. They've scaled those back, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Interesting. As far as the migration, there's also the international migration, right? I mean, our area is an incredible melting pot, which we love. It's incredible culture around here. Since 2021 to fourth quarter 2022, we've had a 74% increase in international migration. Population of foreign born is around 35 to 40% in all of our local cities. Our national average is 13.5. So I think definitely where that brain trust with all the different companies and it's more that global society really helps us. And that's another point. Where's that money coming from, right?
Yeah, and they keep a lot of those jobs too haven't necessarily. I mean, there's a couple jobs, Tesla and them. I've heard they've laid off 10,000 people here in the United States, but those jobs haven't really done massive layoffs. They've cut the fat, I would say, but they're not cutting.
It's not enough to affect our housing market. I think the only thing, you know, that will impact our housing market from kind of a jobs or technological or finance aspect is if our stock market crashes, right? Because so many of our clients have so much money tied up in stock that if that took a huge nosedive, I think that would put a pause on our housing
There's only
market.
two things that impacts our market, and it's always a temporary setback. As you mentioned, the economic stock markets are people are always driven by. That's where their money's coming down.
Yeah, my
right?
RSUs and my index funds.
And an earthquake. I mean, the earthquakes have always shut down our area for a certain amount of time, but it always rebounds back.
Yeah. Well, and the last big one was 89, right?
Yeah, well, it's coming, right? And other interesting stats as we look at vacancies, we know San Francisco has lost a lot of office space. Well, not lost, they've gained a lot of office space with the vacancies. You know, if you go back to 2019, out of all the major metro areas compared to New York City, Austin, Dallas, Chicago, LA, everything, San Francisco had the lowest vacancy rate at 5.9. Wow. It now has the highest at around 27, 28%.
Damn.
The highest.
What is that from?
Well,
Because like the two other
I'll
areas
tell
you
you, it's
mentioned.
two things it's from. COVID and the state of San Francisco.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean
the employees don't want to go there anymore.
well, compared to the two other places you mentioned, though, I mean, just to get into San Francisco, it's going to take half the time than it is to get into downtown New York or LA. Like that.
Yeah. Well, but I think, was it the last podcast before? You were saying like being bullish on San Francisco. Go ahead.
Great segue. Here we go. We
ahead.
did talk about that last time. So in 2022, the average price per square foot, this is before commercial type product, right, was $1,372 a foot.
Wow.
You want to take a stab? You were looking at my notes here. You want to take a stab
And I
at what it
did
is
some of the
today?
research.
I'm going to say 675.
$295.
What?
Look at all those. Look at all,
$295.
there was a building that some guy just bought for $60 million, $66 million. They just sold it for $6.5 million.
Wow.
I mean, you look at all that product
Wait a
around
second.
Union
Can
Square.
you repeat that to our public?
$66 million it was
They
purchased
bought
for.
it.
Through a foreclosure, it sold for $6.5 million.
It's insane.
Talk about a write-off.
They're walking away.
That is a loss.
If only I had a war chest of $10 million, I could invest in real
There
estate.
you go. There you go. All right. And then the upcoming loan
We want
maturities.
billboards.
So we do. So 2024 has the highest amount of loan maturities at literally over $900 billion.
That's awesome.
And that's mixed, multi-res, office, industrial, retail.
That's
It's all
insane.
commercial based, not residential. But that is where I think we're going to see an increase of those foreclosures. I think that's where we're going to see opportunities to pick those type of properties up. So be on the lookout and stay tuned to the podcast and our other emails and stuff because we will be leading that.
And one last thing, as loan maturity, as it relates to residential homes, right? Single family homes. I mean, how many First Republic Bank interest only ARMs are out there? Right? Yeah, right. But so what's going to happen when, because they were what, like 4, 5, 7, 10 years, and so what happens is they'll start to mature.
Yeah, we did a 7-year because the thought was we were going to build a new house and exit out of the one we stayed, and now we've kind of flipped that. Ours was a 7-year at 2.25 IO payments. My payments went from around $10,000 a month to $3,000 a month. So it's been a really nice, comfortable ride.
Yeah.
But it is like, okay, 2008 or 2028.
Yeah.
Are we going to get those rates back down?
No chance.
Yeah.
No chance.
No, not to those.
Do you?
levels.
At the beginning of the year, we all had like our expectations of where rates go. Like, what are your thoughts now? By the end of the year, where are we
Well,
at?
we're riding between mid sixes, right?
They went down about. They went down about an eighth.
They're up about 7. They're at 7% right now.
Okay.
So they're actually higher right now. They're higher than I thought they were going to be. I thought by now we'd start to see them come down.
Yeah.
However, now I'm hearing. I mean, the Fed did say that the next meeting they'll probably cut rates, but there's a trickle down effect to that. So I don't think we're going to see mortgage rates go down until Q4.
I don't either. I mean,
And it's going to be minimal.
Yeah, I mean,
Quarter
the
point.
expectations that we'd see 4 drops by the end of this year. Feds came out and said you're going to be lucky to get 1. And I think the other challenge is, for those of us who aren't under 30 years old or even under 40, you go back 30, 40 years. I mean, the average rate it's been around 7.5%. So we're at 6.5 to 7. I mean, that's, in the grand scheme of things, not terrible. It's just that we've been spoiled, as a lot of the younger people have been.
Yeah.
I also think income has gone up quite a bit since those nice 7%.
Well,
times
yeah,
back
but-
Well,
then
and that's why
where
we're still having buyers out there, right?
I was just going to say it hasn't slowed down buyers.
Right. Well, and then we still have buyers coming in on cash where they don't care what it is.
Or
right?
large enough cash where 6%, 5% doesn't matter.
And
much
that's,
in
or
payment.
to your point, they're doing buy downs, right?
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
so-
There's buy downs too. So
Yeah.
good
Yep.
times. All right, Benny.
What's up? You got anything? Mustache moment or anything?
Well, it was really about just where these people are coming with the money. Like you said, we're seeing 50% down, 60% down, buy down rates, and it's like, how do people just keep getting more money? Like
RSUs and stocks.
I mean,
Yeah.
you look these properties up too. We have access to title, and
Yeah.
when I go to write an offer and I write the owner's name inside the title, I'll pull up the title to make sure I'm spelling it all correctly and it's proper documentation. 4 or 5 properties underneath their name, so they're just constantly continuing like. How do we do that? How does the younger generation continuously buy properties?
Well, you invest in Nvidia that's up 93% year to date.
I think the best advice, and it's something we've always said, just get into the game.
Yeah.
Because once you can't play the game if you're not in it, right? So there's so many people who have that mental block of, God, that price of that first one, I got to borrow and scrape and save. But once you're in the game, then you're along for the ride.
Well, yeah, and I mean, I'm trying to educate my kids with this now. It's like your first house should be a duplex.
It's so funny you said that. I literally just put my 2 kids into our MLS search for a duplex.
Yeah.
Right. Let them combine their money, get into that, and then they just go
Yeah,
from there.
yeah,
I
because-
wish my parents did that.
Yeah, no, me too. Because in San Jose, you can get a duplex for, I don't know, say a decent one for 1.4, 1.5. So think about that. It's still a big number, but you can qualify for FHA, get up to 3.5% down.
Yep.
And you can rent out the other side to your buddies. And think about it, because we deal a lot in multifamily. So you're getting 2 doors for 1.5 million, right? So $750 a door. You can't buy anything for $750 a door. I heard that's not a townhome or a
Right.
condo.
Right.
So no, I mean, so to your point, as soon as you can do that, right? We talked a year or so ago about like crowdfunding, using your buddies, right? And so even if you got 4 guys on the loan, 2 guys on one side, 2 guys on the other, and get that appreciation. Then eventually one side moves out, you rent out the other side, and keep
I'm
building.
kicking myself in the rear for not buying our listing we just had on Hacienda. I mean, 1.7 for, you got big backyards, 3-bedroom, 1 bath, in a great area.
Yeah.
I think that was even at 1.7 that went over $100,000 over list price. I think it was a great deal for the guy that bought it.
Yep.
To your point, my parents made me buy right out the gate.
There you go.
So after I come back from college, I'm at home.
Yep.
I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get an apartment with my friends.
Yeah.
And it was my mom actually. She's just like, you stay here, you save up a down payment, and then you buy something.
Yep.
There you go.
Bought a $300,000 condo in Almaden. Lived in it for 5 years. Sold it for almost $600.
There you go.
Just got me to my
It
next
doubled
house.
it, doubled the value on it.
Yeah.
We're in Almaden, over at Lake Almaden.
Yeah. Right
La
across the
Terrace?
street. La Terrace.
There you go, man.
That was it.
That's
I
funny.
know that property
I
very
just
well.
sold on a La Terrace for $550.
Yeah.
So,
But look what Jason did. He got in entry level. 5 years later, doubled his money, was able to leverage it.
Well,
into
and
something.
So
the
let
way
me-
he met Aaron was through doing skits.
Flips.
Well, let me ask you a question.
Call
then.
him a skip.
I know, right?
Yeah, Jason, I have a question for you then,
Go.
because you relate to the my generation, your generation. for the people
Our
who have,
generation.
Wah wah.
I know. For the
Dig at
people
me,
who
Mark.
I want a backyard. I want the 3-bedroom, 2-bath. I want the single family home. Like, what are your thoughts? What are your advice to them? Of
Well,
just
I'll tell you what my
getting in on a
grandfather
condo?
used to say. You can want in one hand and in the other and see which one weighs more.
Good one. All right, let him answer.
ahead.
But yeah.
I mean, I think it's just math. You just go, okay, what does that look like? Where do I want to be? What do I want? What's the down payment look like? All that kind of stuff. And then you just start reverse engineering. How do I get there?
Did you see your life though downsizing from being in a smaller home? Like, did you lose friends because you were in a
No,
smaller home?
God, no.
Well, that's a good point.
It's
though,
a
'cause
serious
people-
question.
It is.
I,
It's a
all
very
the
good
time.
point.
Oh, I don't know if people will be able to fit in the house. I don't know if I'm gonna have enough room. I don't know if my friends will come over.
No, the
It's-
only
it's-
time you lose friends is like when you move to Hollister.
Oh, don't say that. I'm buying my mom a house in Hollister.
Yeah, try and be
We're in
close.
contract.
What does that say about your relationship with your mom?
Good point.
If you really loved your mom, you'd move her into Los Gatos.
Just close
Oh, boy.
enough.
Oh boy. I got a couple questions. What,
Yeah.
Did you get your kicked or something, dude? What do you got, like bruises and scrapes all over you?
Oh, dude. 2 bug bites. We're currently
What's all over
getting
your
over
arm
it.
and stuff, man?
Made a great,
that-
made a
yes.
great play in baseball the other night.
It's a contact sport.
Yeah.
Got the runner out. Ended up with a battle scar.
All right.
Any others that we can't see, or
There's another one you can't see, but that's for the hit. But no,
really-
I appreciate what you were.
I
Well,
think
but to the point too, it's like, well, I want this, I want that. Well, okay, but realistically, it's like it's what you want versus what you can afford, and then it's our job to remind people stories just like Jason's. Hey,
Right.
I'm sure Jason wanted something bigger.
Yeah.
He might have wanted a nicer apartment than the condo he ended up buying, but look at him now.
Yeah.
it was 600 square feet.
Yeah.
It was tiny, 1 bedroom. And then I got married. We lived in there for about a year, and then
Yeah.
we were able to move into the next one. I think our generation wants something like really quickly,
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
opposed to what is the step.
I think
look
that
like?
is the perfect example and story of especially Silicon, or not even just Silicon Valley, anybody is of the way that they should utilize real estate to gain wealth for themselves and to grow with it as their life expands.
100%.
Yeah,
Good job, man.
even in Monopoly, you can't start with the hotel.
Yep.
Right. You got to buy the first house, and then the second house, the third, the fourth,
right.
and then
Yeah,
you
that's
get the
a great- that- there you
right,
go.
and then you get the hotel.
Yeah.
That is
That's awesome.
true.
All right.
Cool. Are we
Well,
done?
I got to go do a walkthrough in
All
20
right.
minutes.
All right.
so-
I got a great PSA. Never reverse polarity when you're jumping a car.
and Mark can send Jacob the picture to show it.
There you go.
And
All
for
right.
those young kids that don't know what jumping a car
Oh,
is,
yeah.
Yeah, right.
it's when your car battery dies and there's little jumper cables. And
Red
reverse
and black.
polarity is when you put the positive on the negative and vice versa.
I swear it was jumping over that.
Yeah.
All right.
guys.
On
See
that,
you next
guys.
week.
Cool.
All right.